going to hear and see a rapid succession of things happening. We're going to hear a call for MECO. That's the booster, the main engine cutoff. It's completing its job of getting the spacecraft out of the atmosphere. We'll also follow that up with the first stage being separated, following a parabolic trajectory back towards the drone ship, and then very shortly after that will be the second stage engine start. That's that Merlin vacuum engine we talked about.
MECO 1.
Stage separation confirmed.
There you see a beautiful shot, the first stage falling away.
MVAC ignition confirmed.
And that MVAC ignition confirmed. There you see it on screen. You can see on the left side, you can kind of see that plume coming out, and you'll see that engine bell increasingly get more of that beautiful orange color to it. That says we're just increasing the heat and picking up the pace. The two camera angles you see here are on reverse sides of that engine, so you're seeing a single engine there, just from opposite directions. As we continue on a nominal call, we heard a number of those during the uphill climb as well.
Beautiful launch today, just stunning. And again, all the calls we've heard have been nominal up to this point. So all things looking great.
There you see on the left-hand side of your screen that first stage continuing on. Those hypersonic grid fins are now expanded. Those won't be usable until they re-enter the atmosphere. Obviously, without the atmosphere, that kind of directioning just isn't helpful. But once they enter the atmosphere, you'll see those begin to move, pitch and roll to be able to target that pinpoint landing on, of course, I Still Love You, the drone ship.
We've got less than 5 minutes till we expect that to happen.
Stage 2 propulsion is nominal.
A couple more great nominal call-outs there. So just previewing what's ahead, at about 6.5 minutes into flight, we're going to have the entry burn for the first stage, headed towards that drone ship. Just
acquisition of signal in Bermuda.
So that's just a communication call. You might hear more of those as we go through the process today. That's just a matter of there are ground stations across the world, literally, that help pick up and track the vehicle as we send telemetry data back to Earth for the mission, for the controllers to be able to monitor progress and ensure everything is proceeding nominally.
And really noteworthy, that booster just launched its 4th payload into space. And one of those actually was more significant than a payload. Bob and Doug earlier this year, that same booster launched 2 humans into space. So really, really great, amazing accomplishment that the same booster has been reused a 4th time.
Trajectory nominal.
After we get that entry burn, a couple minutes later, we will have the second stage engine cutoff. That puts us at having a roughly 6-minute burn of the second stage, and then at almost the exact same instant, we're expecting the first stage landing to occur, and then a few minutes more, we'll see the separation of the Dragon from that second stage. We've seen some beautiful shots this morning in preparation for launch, so hopefully we'll get to bring you that live. Again, beautiful to see that Dragon just separate what feels like ever so gently at a cool 17,500 miles an hour.
Oh yeah, just a nice easy coast, right? You know what's really exciting to look back and realize, you know, the Dragon is on its way to the space station, the first of 9 cargo resupply missions under this brand new contract. But it just so happens on this day in history, 22 years ago, began the assembly of the International Space Station.
Trajectory nominal.
Obviously, an incredible international collaboration, and really
This is Mission Control Houston. You're now looking at a live view of the International Space Station Flight Control Room. That package you saw was a highlight reel from just about, well, a little bit more than 24 hours ago when the Dragon CRS-21 lifted off atop of Falcon 9 from Pad 39A over at the Kennedy Space Center. A little bit more than 24 hours ago, 10:17 a.m. Central, 11:17 a.m. Eastern. 24 hours later, the spacecraft is in integrated operations with the teams that you see here. Just moments ago, they were deliberating the rendezvous and approach timeline here. We're aiming for a docking time at 12:30 p.m. Central Time. There may be an adjustment just by a few minutes, so we'll continue to keep you up to date as the teams here continue to deliberate that time. In the meantime, CRS-21 is just about 2,000 meters away from the International Space Station, approaching at a rate of a little less than 3 meters per second. There is a mid-course burn maneuver that is scheduled just about 3.5 minutes from now as the station and Dragon make their way closer to each other. 267 statute miles now just over the South Indian Ocean in an orbital nighttime, so the views, we're not getting views quite yet of the cargo craft, but we're expected to see a sunrise here in just momentarily as we cross into an orbital daytime just over New Zealand. You can see there on the right. Now again, we did execute that approach initiation burn a little bit earlier than expected, 10:50. We're continuing to monitor the docking time. We're scheduled for 12:30 for contact and capture, but that next milestone is waypoint 0. Scheduled for just about a half an hour from now, though we're tracking a mid-course burn that may be executed here the next 2.5 minutes. We'll continue to keep that update and continue to keep you updated to see how we converge with that waypoint 0 milestone, again to 400 meters directly below the station. And we just got confirmation that the Dragon spacecraft is now underway with a mid-course maneuver to make subtle adjustments to make sure we're within that trajectory to get us to waypoint 0. Again, the approach initiation mid-course burn is underway. About 15 seconds left in the burn. Everything's looking good so far. And we just got confirmation. Good mid-course maneuver burn. The trajectory of CRS-21 has converged with the next milestone reaching waypoint 0, 400 meters directly below the International Space Station. That milestone coming up in just about 18 minutes thanks to that mid-course maneuver. So you can see we're having a subtle adjustment from that expected waypoint 0 arrival time. The new expected arrival time for waypoint 0 is 11:38 a.m. Central Time. Now getting views of SpaceX Cargo Dragon as it makes its way towards the International Space Station after successfully conducting an approach initiation burn and an approach initiation mid-course maneuver. The cargo craft is just a little bit less than 1,300 meters away from the International Space Station. The maneuver it's making right now will put it 400 meters directly below the station. That'll be its next milestone. From there, it'll swing out in front of the International Space Station, arriving 220 meters right above its new home, the International Docking Adapter 3, on the zenith or space-facing side of Node 2 at the forward end of the International Space Station. Now you can see this is the IDA-3 docking port. You can see just in the top left part of this particular graphic, CRS-21 Cargo Dragon, that is the port that it's expected to arrive at later today. Just a little bit around the time of 12:30 p.m. Central Time, a little bit more than an hour from now, we'll be seeing that docking. The Crew 1 Dragon is currently docked to the International Space Station at the forward end. That's IDA-2, the forward end of the International Space Station and forward end of Node 2. There are 3 other visiting vehicles currently docked to the International Space Station. Northrop Grumman's Cygnus on its CRS-14 mission. There are 2 Progress vehicles. Those are resupply spacecraft from Roscosmos, and of course the Soyuz MS-17 that carried 3 crew members, including NASA's Kate Rubins, who is monitoring the approach operations today from the cupola window. That is also docked to the Rossviet module.
Over Dragon. Scan 2. With you on 2, Dragon range is passing 1,000 meters. Monitor long-range approach per step 1 in 1.102, uncrewed Dragon approach and retreat monitoring.
Okay, copy, and that's for Kate for me, correct?
That is correct. Kate and Ike.
All right, we'll get in that. I can confirm the shutters are closed and the ham radios are powered off.
Copy both.
Photos from Biomol are available for you on SSC 20.
Copy 20.
For ARA, the covers are back on.
Copy, covers on.
This is Mission Control Houston. What you're looking at now is a live view from the International Space Station's external high-definition cameras, looking out at the CRS-21 cargo spacecraft, SpaceX's CRS-21. It's sitting inside 1,000 meters inside the approach ellipsoid. Actually, a little less than 730 meters. Now, as we continue to try to lock on from the International Space Station side, you can see the cameras from Dragon. We're getting some feeds past the ground stations, providing a video feed looking up at the bright object in the sky that is the International Space Station. A little closer now, some of those features being able to be made out as it makes its approach. Now inside 700 meters, that next milestone will be 400 meters directly below, but this is essentially directly below the International Space Station. You can sort of pick out the solar arrays on both sides, and the aft end of the station, the Zvezda service module at the bottom of your screen on the right image there.
Houston copies. Tally ho.
And you just heard a tally ho from Kate Rubens aboard the International.
To the rest of the steps in the block, I just figured you want that info first.
Always happy to have a Dragon arriving.
looking beautiful, too. We're right at the terminator, so the sun's glinting off it. I wish you guys could see this.
So again, Kate Rubins and Victor Glover are inside the cupola module. During the approach phase, they were able to close the shutters to the cupola modules, but they have since been opened to maintain situational awareness. And Kate Rubins from the International Space Station has just called down through space to ground of a tally-ho, meaning that she's spotted the CRS-21 spacecraft from the International Space Station, just 630 meters away at this point. Both spacecraft are flying into an orbital sunrise, so you're starting to see the image become a little bit clearer now. The reason for the tally-ho, the International Space Station is 271 statute miles in orbital daytime over the South Pacific Ocean, just south of New Zealand. Now, the CRS-21 spacecraft is slowing its approach to that next milestone, waypoint 0. That's 400 meters directly below the International Space Station. We're inside 600 meters right now, so we're expecting that arrival time of waypoint 0 to happen in just about 8 minutes and 30 seconds.
Station on Space to Ground 2, I can confirm all other parameters in Block 1 are nominal and as expected.
Copy all parameters as expected.
In Houston Station for monitoring, I've got good RPOP on SSC-12 and SSC-17, and I've got the MPEG streamer on SSC-5. I don't see video yet on the SSC-17. I think that's as expected. I believe that popped up a little bit later for Crew 1, but just let me know.
And Kate, we copy good RPOP on 12 and 17, streamer on 5. You are correct that the video on SSC 17 will pop up a little bit later.
Okay, thank you.
What you just heard was the voice of Kate Rubins. She's inside the cupola module of the International Space Station next to a program called RPOP, Rendezvous Proximity and Operations Program. This is providing telemetry through a link called C2V2, Common Communications for Visiting Vehicle. There's a system on board the Dragon, which we're looking at right now, as it passes over the South Pacific Ocean just east of New Zealand. They're both spacecraft traveling at 17,500 miles an hour, so the images are going by pretty fast there. But that link, she's confirming some of the data that she's able to see from that C2V2 link. There's a system aboard the Dragon and a system aboard station providing that telemetry to her system, the one that Kate Rubins is monitoring, the RPOP. Next to her is NASA astronaut Victor Glover, also monitoring the rendezvous, the approach and docking operations of CRS-21. Still making its way to waypoint 0. That arrival time is expected inside of 5 minutes, as the Dragon is now 450 meters from the International Space Station. Waypoint 0 is just 400 meters. It's slowing its approach towards that milestone. The expectation is it will pass right through waypoint 0. It will not pause. The next milestone will be to move out in front of the International Space Station outside of a zone called the Keep Out Sphere. The Keep Out Sphere is just about 180 meters around the International Space Station, an imaginary line. So it'll maintain its distance outside of that sphere to its next waypoint, 220 meters right in front of the docking axis of IDA-3, International Docking Adapter 3. As Dragon makes its approach toward waypoint 0, some of those features of the International Space Station becoming just a bit more clear. Now, towards the top of the station image on the right, you can sort of make out the outline of the SpaceX Crew Dragon. That's at the forward end of the International Space Station. Now, its trajectory right now is directly below the International Space Station, and its trajectory will take it in front of the station, essentially in line with that V-bar, the velocity bar that the station is traveling right on as it makes its orbit around the Earth. That'll be kind of directly in line with the Crew Dragon that's currently docked. It'll pass that V-bar line directly in front of the station and swing out in front and over the station until it's just about 220 meters directly above the station at the port that's adjacent to that port where Crew Dragon is. Crew Dragon's docked to the International Docking Adapter 2. There's an IDA-3 that's right above that part. It's on the space-facing side of the station. Can't quite see it from this view as we're directly below the station. It'll come into view as we make past those next couple of milestones. Now we're just moments away from that waypoint 0 arrival. We'll stand by for confirmation of that arrival. From then, Dragon is expected to start its maneuver directly in front.
For step 2, if you're ready for a Block Bravo call.
We are ready.
All right, corridor monitoring looks good as expected. Attitude looks perfect as expected, and we see everything pointed towards the space station.
Houston copies all.
This is Mission Control Houston. Kate Rubins reporting some great data that she's seeing from her monitoring tool, the RPOP, Rendezvous Proximity and Operations Program. We're now inside of a minute from the waypoint 0 arrival, 400 meters directly below the International Space Station. is Mission Control Houston. The SpaceX CRS-21 cargo craft has passed waypoint 0. It has reached that milestone 400 meters directly below the International Space Station and is now in its next phase of flight called Approach 0. You can sort of see it already making its way in front of the International Space Station. That's its next maneuver. It'll maintain its distance outside of the keep-out sphere, an imaginary sphere about 180, 185 meters in of radius around the International Space Station. So it'll maintain its distance as it makes its way in front there, but it has reached that milestone, waypoint 0, now making its way in front. So you'll see it move right in line with the current Crew Dragon that's docked to the International Space Station. It'll pass that milestone and swing out right in front and above the International Space Station. The next milestone is 220 meters above its docking axis of the International Docking Adapter 3.
Houston Station on Safety Ground 2 for Block Bravo call.
Go for Block Bravo.
Everything in Block Bravo is as expected, range 372, range rate 0.06. We've got eyes on Dragon moving forward now, and we'll switch to MPEG streamer once she's out of view, but we've got an excellent view from Cupola.
Copy all.
So you're hearing some great words from Kate Rubens, who's monitoring the approach and docking phase of CRS-21 from the cupola window, the 7-bay window that looks down at the Earth. She's got a program looking at the data from coming from the cargo Dragon. Everything's looking good from her end. It has since passed waypoint 0 that you see here on this graphic, 400 meters, and its trajectory now is that on the left there, making its way swinging around the front of the station just outside of the keep-out sphere. making its way right in front of the docking axis. Waypoint 1, that's 220 meters right in front of that docking port. That's where it's aiming for today. Just about an hour from now is the scheduled docking time. We'll keep you up to date as we get closer to to Waypoint 2 and contact some of these next milestones coming up. Now, as we wait to regain some views of Dragon, we were getting some high-definition views from the cameras of station. We'll go through some of the items that are on board Cargo Dragon. There's 6,400 pounds of cargo, even more than that, a ton of which, literally more than a ton of the mass inside of Cargo Dragon are scientific investigations. There are quite a number of them, too. Inside the unpressurized payload is the NanoRex Bishop airlock. This is the first commercial airlock that'll be attached to the International Space Station. That's in the unpressurized section, and you can see there are a lot of other accommodations inside the pressurized compartment as well. This is the first time that this kind of Dragon is docking to the International Space Station. There's a Crew Dragon that mimics a lot of what you're seeing today in terms of the operation, in terms of the design, but this is the new Cargo Dragon, part of the CRS-2 contract that is making its way to station today with more than 6,400 pounds of cargo. Now, part of that science investigation, there's quite a number of scientific investigations on board. One of them is called Cardinal Heart. This is part of an investigation that's looking at the cardiovascular cells and tissues modeled inside of an engineered tissue chip. Tissue chips have been coming up the station for a few years now of really replicating the structure and function of tissues and even organs and replicating those functions through some engineering. They'll be modeling some cardiovascular cells and tissues and seeing how the stresses of microgravity impact the performance of those cells and tissues, and they'll be brought back down to Earth for investigation afterwards. Also on board in the unpressurized section is the NanoRex Bishop airlock. This was designed by NanoRex and a few of their commercial partners, part of the growing low Earth orbit economy and the support that the International Space Station provides. That'll be attached to the port side of the Tranquility module, where the PMA-3 that's currently hosting the IDA-3, where Dragon will dock, that was its former home. But NanoRex Bishop airlock will be used to support a variety of customers. It can deploy satellites, it can host external payloads, and so that's coming up on the Cargo Dragon. It'll be maneuvered robotically from the trunk of Dragon once it's docked to its new home right there on the port side of Tranquility. Now, of course, there was a lot of important scientific investigations and hardware, but one of the big questions that we always get here at NASA is what kind of food can we expect? Of course, with the upcoming holidays, they are stacked with a holiday menu. Here it is right here, some cherry blueberry cobbler, a crew favorite, as well as some other holiday-themed items all across the board. The astronauts on board will be able to share and get together during the holiday season and celebrate with some new food that's going up on board CRS-21, the Dragon that's maintaining its distance 400 meters from station, making its way in front and to that docking port. Now, once it actually docks to the International Space Station, you saw more than 6,400 pounds of cargo on board, including the mass of the CRS-21 cargo craft. The docking of CRS-21 will actually break the post-shuttle mass record. This is the total mass of the International Space Station. Now, once it docks, it'll be one of 6 visiting vehicles, and it'll be ever closer to that 1 million pound milestone. You can see the previous record was in August of 2012. There was 3 Russian spacecraft attached, as well as the European Space Agency's cargo craft, the ATV, and the Japanese cargo craft, the HTV. That put it at a record of the post-shuttle era at about 984,000 pounds, just a little bit more than that. Now, the new record with the Cargo Dragon, in addition to the Crew Dragon that's at the forward end, the Northrop Grumman's Cygnus vehicle, and 3 Russian spacecraft, will put it ever closer to that 1 million pound record. 996,828 pounds will be the record upon docking for CRS-21 today, coming up in right now what is scheduled in less than an hour. This is Mission Control Houston. The CRS-21 cargo craft is continuing its approach towards its new home aboard the International Space Station, the International Docking Adapter 3. It is now swinging in front of the International Space Station, still trying to maintain those views as it makes those dynamic swing from the bottom of Space Station, where it recently passed waypoint 0, 400 meters directly below. You can sort of make it out in the distance. It's about 460 statute miles swinging out in front of the International Space Station. It has not crossed the V-bar yet, or the velocity bar that's right in front of the International Space Station, though it is very close, and that will be sort of in line with the trajectory of the International Space Station and the docking axis of the Crew Dragon that is currently docked to the forward end. It's coming up about to cross that V-bar very shortly. It'll then swing out in front of and above the International Space Station to meet up with its next waypoint. That is 220 meters directly above the International Space Station's IDA-3, International Docking Adapter 3. That's on the Node 2 forward end of the International Space Station, so that'll be right in front. You can see throughout this whole maneuver, it'll maintain its distance outside of the keep out sphere. That's an imaginary sphere, about 180, 185 meters around the International Space Station. It'll maintain a distance well beyond that. Right now, it's 460 meters away from the station as it reaches that next milestone, waypoint 1, of course. When it gets towards waypoint 1, once it crosses that velocity bar at about this distance, about 450, 460 meters, when it gets to waypoint 1, it'll start going a little bit closer. 220 meters is that next milestone. A great view from Dragon as it approaches that velocity bar. This is a view directly in front of the International Space Station. The station is reflecting quite a bit of light. In fact, if you're on the Earth at night, it's the third brightest object in the sky. After, of course, the sun and the moon, this is the next brightest object, and you can find it passing directly over your home by going to spotthestation.com. Even from this view, 460 meters in front of the station, it is a bit bright, but you can make out a lot of the features of the International Space Station, the solar arrays flanking both ends of the truss there, and then of course at the bottom you can sort of make out the some of the visiting vehicles that are on the nadir end, or the Earth-facing side of the International Space Station. There's 3 visiting vehicles currently on the nadir side. That is the Northrop Grumman Cygnus 14. There's also a Soyuz spacecraft and a Progress spacecraft. There's another Progress spacecraft on the aft end of the International Space Station, sort of the back end, not visible from here. And then it's sort of blown out, but at the very forward end of the International Space Station.
-0.01. Attitude is good. We still have a visual on Dragon from the cupola.
Houston copies all.
As Kate Rubins aboard the International Space Station, Mike Jensen is the voice you're hearing from here in Mission Control Houston, confirming the crew is still receiving some very good visuals. Now, of course, the Dragon has not yet crossed the velocity bar that's directly in front of the station. The cupola windows at the Earth-facing side, the bottom, so they can still make out the cargo craft, but once it swings over that velocity bar and makes its way above the station, they'll start to lose those views, and they'll have to rely on the telemetry that they're getting aboard their program, the RPOP, Rendezvous Proximity Operations Program, that's providing some of the data and telemetry from the SpaceX CRS-21. Some great views from some of the high-definition truss cameras aboard the International Space Station. This one coming from the port truss, looking out at the cargo Dragon. That's 462 meters away from the International Space Station, just at about the velocity bar right now, directly in front.
Basic ground 2, range 461, range rate -0.06, and we just lost the visual on Dragon. We've got a good view for the MPEG streamer, just in case you're interested in future info on how long we have the actual visual.
And Kate, given that this is our first time going up the overhead, that's helpful data.
Sure thing.
So this is Mission Control Houston.
Station Houston on 2 for Kate. When Pluto says up the laptop, you didn't full screen that video. If you want it full screen, you are welcome to do that.
I made the window bigger, but I'll make that full screen. Thank you.
So this is Mission Control Houston. Kate Rubins aboard the International Space Station. She's in the cupola module. This is a 7-bay window that looks right down at the Earth, confirming she loses visuals just from the windows of the cupola that looks down at the Earth. She loses it right about the time that it crosses the velocity bar right above, right in line with the velocity vector of the International Space Station, the vector that the space station is traveling on. Now the CRS-21 has since crossed the V-bar, so it's now above that velocity bar, and it's making its way to that next milestone, waypoint 1. That's expected in just about 20 minutes, maybe a little bit less, but that'll be right now, let's see, 450 meters away from the station at the velocity bar. When it makes its way to waypoint 0, that'll be at 220 meters, so it'll move out in front and just get ever closer, still maintaining its distance outside of the keep-out sphere. The keep-out sphere is about 185 meters away from the station. Throughout this approach, the teams here in Mission Control Houston and in Mission Control Hawthorne
Pan and tilt it all and get a little bit of station structure in there. That'll help us gauge a little bit better on the MPEG streamer.
And Kate, we will get that in work. We were just about to change camera views, and we'll add in some structure.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Sorry, I'm used to controlling the cameras myself for the robotics operation, so thanks for bearing with me.
Our pleasure.
Excellent view. Thank you for that change.
This is Mission Control Houston. You're getting a live look at the International Space Station Flight Control Room here in Mission Control Houston. Teams here are led by Flight Director Paul Kanya. The voice you're hearing from here in Mission Control Houston is next to Paul Kanya, Mike Jensen. He's the Capcom, speaking with Kate Rubins, who's responding from the cupola module, working alongside Victor Glover. They're monitoring the telemetry and data that's coming from the cargo Dragon, delivering a data and communication through a link called C2V2, Common Communication for Visiting Vehicle. Now regaining some of the video and audio from the International Space Station. Here's a view of Cargo Dragon. 412 meters from the International Space Station. You can see slowly getting a little bit closer to that 220-meter holding point that's directly above the docking port, the International Docking Adapter 3, where Dragon is expected to dock today in just about 40 minutes or so. We're a little bit ahead of the timeline, have been trending but where the expected docking time has been 12:30 p.m. Central Time. We're continuing to assess that as Dragon continues to make its approach. Teams here in Mission Control Houston now undergoing a go, no-go poll to pass through waypoint 1 to waypoint 2. Waypoint 2 is just 20 meters away from the International Space Station. Now within that range, from 220 to 20 meters, they're going to cross the Keep Out Sphere. This is an imaginary sphere about 180 meters and has a whole new set of flight rules once you cross that Keep Out Sphere. So they're conducting the go, no-go poll now, though the Dragon so far has been trending a great flight from launch yesterday at 10:17 a.m. Central. It's continuing to make its way towards waypoint 1. Now when it reaches waypoint 1, that's 220 meters in front of the docking port, the International Docking Adapter 3. The expectation, as long as everything is looking good for the spacecraft, is to maneuver straight from waypoint 1 to waypoint 2. No pausing necessary. It'll cross the Keep Out Sphere within that time frame. The hold will happen at waypoint 2. This will be just 20 meters in front of the International Space Station. We'll hold there, assess, make sure everything is okay to proceed. Depart waypoint 2, 20 meters away, and go in for a contact and capture. Now, this will be the first time that a visiting vehicle docks to the International Docking Adapter 3. IDA-3 is currently mated to the Pressurized Mating Adapter 3. Now, PMA-3 was robotically removed from the Tranquility module. This is Node 3. Back in March of 2016, it was formally attached to the Port Common Berthing Mechanism. That's on the far left side. If you're looking in nautical terms, that same port, that same Common Berthing Mechanism will be where the Nanoracks Bishop airlock is expected to be positioned shortly after the SpaceX CRS-21 docks. Look at this view from the SpaceX Cargo Dragon, providing video as it makes its way. This is now above the velocity bar. You can tell a little bit above, directly in front of the International Space Station. You can make out very clearly many of the features, including at the very forward end of the station. It's crossing in front of the forward end. You can sort of make out a little bit obstructed by a little bit of shadow, but you can make out the Crew Dragon that brought 4 crew members to the International Space Station last month. The station right now is flying 263 statute miles right over Canada, making its way on a northeastern trajectory, and should pass over the North Atlantic Ocean. Shortly over the North Atlantic Ocean, the spacecraft, both the International Space Station and Cargo Dragon, will be entering into an orbital nighttime, so those views will get a little bit darker. But upon approach at 12:30, we're expected to be in an orbital daytime. This is Mission Control Houston. Now again, the SpaceX Cargo Dragon vehicle, CRS-21, heading towards waypoint 1, 220 meters, right in front of its new docking port, the International Docking Adapter 3. You can sort of see from this angle making its way towards that docking port, the top or zenith part.
We see good alignment, and it's pointing right at the intersection of Node 2 and IDA.
Copy all, and good Dragon video.
This is Mission Control Houston. Some of the readouts from Kate Rubins. She's inside the cupola module. She's able to track some of the data and telemetry coming right from the Cargo Dragon through a link called C2V2, Common Communications for Visiting Vehicles. She's looking at the alignment. Everything looks good from her rendezvous and proximity operations software that she's using to track the approach of Dragon. Some trajectory officers here at Mission Control Houston, as well as in Hawthorne, California, the SpaceX flight controllers confirming that the Cargo Dragon is on a good trajectory to converge with waypoint 1, that's 220 meters in front of the docking axis. At this time, CRS-21 is just about 300 meters away from the International Space Station. That next milestone is 220 meters. Now again, it's going to dock to the International Docking Adapter 3, IDA-3. IDA-3 is currently attached to PMA-3, Pressurized Mating Adapter 3. That was configured specifically for visiting vehicles, cargo, and crew, and support some of the commercial operations that we've been seeing lately. PMA-3 was robotically removed from Tranquility Module in March of 2016. That was originally at the port common berthing mechanism of the Tranquility Module. This is the same common berthing mechanism that will see the Bishop airlock that's currently in the unpressurized trunk of the Cargo Dragon. We'll see that that common berthing mechanism be its new home. Now it was robotically removed from Tranquility in March of 2016, and it was attached to the Harmony Zenith module. That's where it currently is positioned in March of 2017. So the last vehicle to dock to the Pressurized Mating Adapter 3 was Space Shuttle Atlantis. That was in 2001 on STS-98 that brought the U.S. National Laboratory. CRS-21 continuing to make its way towards that next milestone. We're just inside 275 meters from the International Space Station. That next milestone is 220 meters directly in front of the docking axis. Now, we're about to enter into an orbital nighttime here as the International Space Station passes 263 statute miles over the North Atlantic Ocean. So the views here will start to get a little bit dimmer, but we can appreciate some of the last glimpses of light reflecting off of the International Space Station. About a minute and a half from now, Crew Dragon on the forward end of the International Space Station, looking very clear from this view. You can sort of see directly, I guess, above or in front of that image, you can sort of see the Node 2 Zenith port. That's the International Docking Adapter 3. You can sort of make out the position there. We're now lined up almost directly in front of that port, and that'll be that next waypoint arrival coming up here in just about a minute. 220 meters directly in front of that port. We're now sitting at 229 meters. This is Mission Control Houston, receiving confirmation that the Cargo Dragon has passed waypoint 1. We have now passed the milestone 220 meters directly in front.
I think we're headed into orbital night. We're probably going to run into the same problem we had with Crew 1. If there's any way that you can get that camera light on instead of strobing as early as possible, that'll help us get the early visual on the docking target.
This is Mission Control Houston. Now the station and Dragon are expected to enter into an orbital night here soon. So the image that you're seeing now will just get a little bit darker. Appreciating now the views of the Crew Dragon Resilience at the forward end of the International Space Station, glistening off the sun there. We have passed waypoint 1. This is the milestone 220 meters.
204 range rate -0.30. We are in step 3.
Copy all.
We're going to switch over to Node 2 forward, DP to VVDP.
Copy all, Kate.
Again, we have passed waypoint 1. We're now approaching the International Space Station, heading towards waypoint 2, 20 meters away. We're now inside 190 meters. Mission Control Houston and Mission Control Hawthorne have given a go to approach within the keep-out sphere. We should hear that call momentarily. Approaching at a rate of about 30 centimeters per second.
So station on space to ground 2, we see range 169, range rate -0.30.
abort type Posigrade Bravo. I see the lights as indicated in the C2V2 command panel, and the rest of Block Bravo is as expected. Looking at the attitude in the docking system, we don't yet have a visual on the target. We'll let you know when we can assess that.
Copy all.
This is Mission Control Houston, 140 meters away from the International Space Station. The Dragon cargo vehicle has crossed the keep-out sphere, enabling commanding from the crew on board the International Space Station, Kate Rubins and Victor Glover. Inside the cupola, their monitoring procedures, they'll be able to execute a breakout maneuver if necessary. They've tested this command with activating the docking lights aboard Dragon. That test command looked pretty good. Now inside 130 meters, that rate maintaining at 30 centimeters per second, just as expected. We're expected to arrive waypoint 2 just a tad early, maybe about a minute early from the expected time, so 12:19 p.m. Central Time is what we're expecting, about 8 minutes from now. Everything's looking good for the approach and docking phase, the final phase of the journey of CRS-21 today. This is Mission Control Houston. If you are wondering what the rendezvous proximity and operations program that Kate Rubins and Victor Glover are looking at aboard the International Space Station, this is their view. These views are being provided through the Common Communication for Visiting Vehicles link, the link between the Cargo Dragon and the International Space Station.
I'm going to clean up after exercise, and then I will take it apart.
Copy all.
Station on Space Flight Ground 2, range 198 now, range rate -0.30. Block Bravo as expected. Attitude looks good in the MPEG streamer.
Houston copies all.
Kate Rubins reporting good telemetry, lines up with what the flight controllers here in Mission Control Houston are seeing. That range rate holding at 30 meters. We're now heading inside 80 meters away from the International Space Station. That next milestone, again, is 20 meters away from the International Space Station. Everything's looking good for the approach. Some of the other communications that you're hearing on Space to Ground, of course, we do have Kate Rubins and Victor Glover monitoring the approach of Dragon, but we do have...
On 2 for docking light.
On 2.
Kate, if you want the docking light to on instead of blinking, we are go for you to use the PCS display Crew Dragon Node 2 Zenith monitoring from the C2 V2 command panel section, bottom left. Command docking lights to on.
Copy, go. We've been looking at that button, hoping you would tell us that. Thank you. In work. We're going to turn it on.
This is Mission Control Houston. Approach continues to look good. Cargo Dragon now heading inside of 60 meters. We're now 61 meters away from the International Space Station. Again, command abilities are enabled between the crew aboard the International Space Station, Kate Rubins and Victor Glover, at the control panel that you're seeing on the right. This is a view of Cargo Dragon from the International Space Station, thanks to some of the external high-definition cameras. That view is on the left there, but everything is looking good for Dragon's approach. Expected to reach the next waypoint, waypoint 2. This is 20 meters away from the International Space Station. At this waypoint, Dragon will hold. The Cargo Dragon will hold. The teams here will be expected to go through a go, no-go to make sure that everything is looking good for Dragon's final approach to proceed with docking. But that waypoint 2 arrival is expected just about a minute and a half from now.
Station on space to ground 2, 50 meters, range rate -0.30. Attitude is good in the MPEG streamer, and we are waiting to acquire view of the target in the Dragon docking monitor.
Copy all.
Everything's looking good. Dragon is 30 meters and closing from this high-definition external view. You can see some of those service section Dracos firing, maintaining Dragon's attitude as it approaches its next milestone, 20 meters away from the International Space Station's International Docking Adapter 3, where it's expected to dock in a little bit more than 10 minutes from now.
Station on space to ground 2, we can see the target. We can assess alignment at 33 meters. We are at good alignment.
Copy. Good alignment at 33 meters.
Station on space to ground 2, we see vehicle mode hold. We see good holding, range 25.92, range rate 0, good corridor alignment, and in the Dragon docking monitor we see good alignment. We have briefed step 5 and step 6, and we are go whenever you are.
And Kate, we copy all. It's looking good from down here also. We do have some predicted comm blockage that would have occurred during the docking sequence if we pressed immediately. We are intending to hold at waypoint 2 to around 1834 or so. We will give you a call when we are resuming approach.
Okay, copy hold until 1834 for comm blockage. We're going to stay here and monitor, and we are go and briefed from the crew side.
Copy all.
This is Mission Control Houston. The Cargo Dragon has reached its next milestone, arriving at waypoint 2. It's now holding about 20 meters, a little bit less than 20 meters, 19.8 meters away from the International Space Station. Kate Rubins and Victor Glover are monitoring from the International Space Station. Their view is on the right there. That's the Rendezvous Proximity and Operations Program, providing telemetry. They said everything looked good from their end. The Dragon is holding. The command is hold. The Dragon is aligned. And from the crew perspective, they are go to proceed with docking. From here in Mission Control Houston, we are going to wait to proceed with docking today. There is some expected ratty comms that may interrupt some of the telemetry and data coming from Dragon as it makes its way, so we're going to pass that period, and we are expected to resume approach beyond 20 meters and go for a contact and capture, resuming approach from 20 meters expected at 12:34 p.m. Central Time, so it will be a little bit past our expected 12:30 p.m. docking time today, expected to resume approach at 12:34 p.m. Central Time. A 12:34 p.m. Central Time departure from waypoint 2 should put an expected contact and capture time somewhere on the order of 12:39 p.m. Central Time. That'll be our new target for today.
And Station Houston on 2 for Dragon.
And Houston Station on Space to ground 2.
Go ahead, Kate.
Head on 2. Yep, I was just letting you know my earlier range call was we had the node 2 forward docking point to VV docking point. Had crew 1 in my head still. We are now node 2 Zenith docking point to VV docking point and range 19.82.
Copy, 19.82, and I was going to call you and say make sure you're reading off the D2DM.
All right, and we can confirm on the D2DM 19.82.
Copy.
This is Mission Control Houston. Everything's still looking good from the International Space Station side. Kate Rubins and Victor Glover monitoring the Cargo Dragon as it holds 20 meters away. We've passed that holding point from their position, just making sure that they're watching the same telemetry. Kate Rubins, not too long ago, just about a month, even less than that, was monitoring the approach of Crew 1, the SpaceX Crew 1 mission that brought Victor Glover and 3 of his roommates, Victor Glover being one, the other astronaut currently monitoring Cargo Dragon's approach. Kate Rubins was monitoring the approach of Crew Dragon not too long ago, just verifying she's looking at the right data from Node 2 Zenith. That's the space-facing side of Node 2. In the International Space Station Flight Control Room here in Houston, teams are undergoing a go, no-go to proceed with docking. Again, we are expected to depart its current position, holding 20 meters away from the International Space Station. That expected departure time coming up in just about 11 minutes, 12:34 p.m. Pacific. This is just to make sure that we have a secure communication link from the data with the Cargo Dragon before we go ahead and resume approach. With that, we're expecting to see a docking around 12:39 p.m. Central Time today. A little bit later than we were expecting, but want to make sure we have some solid communications with Cargo Dragon. That's carrying now 6,400 pounds of cargo inside. To review some of the upcoming milestones, again, Cargo Dragon is holding 20 meters away from the International Space Station, expected to depart.
The node 2 is docking point to VV docking point on the RPOP on SSC 12. We're scared to touch SSC 17, so we haven't commanded anything on RPOP because we've got a good docking system view there.
Kate, we are happy with that plan, and just be advised we will have some RADI comm on the ISS systems here through about 1833, up 1834.
Copy, thank you.
This is Mission Control Houston. That was Kate Rubins reporting some of her updates. Voice you're hearing from Mission Control Houston, that's Mike Jensen confirming that RADICOM. So we may see this view of Dragon go in and out intermittently as we get towards that expected departure time of 12:34 p.m. Central Time. That again was delayed from the original departure time to allow us to get past this period of expected RADICOMs. Make sure we have a good communication link with Dragon as it makes its approach. Now, once it resumes at 12:34 p.m. Central Time, once it resumes approach, you'll hear some call-outs of Dragon as it approaches ever so closely, 10 meters and 5 meters. There may be a call called Crew Hands Off Point, CHOP, that's within 2 meters away from the docking port, just to make sure that Kate Rubins and Victor Glover inside the cupola module will not send any commands to Dragon within that time period. That's at, again, 2 meters away from the expected contact and capture point. We'll call contact and capture during the soft capture of Cargo Dragon to the International Space Station and report that time to you with the official docking time and the location of the International Space Station and Dragon. The operations are not yet done. After that, we'll continue to provide coverage as the soft capture ring is retracted to pull Cargo Dragon into the International Docking Adapter, and then we'll have to wait for a hard capture of Cargo Dragon. So there's 12 hooks that keep Cargo Dragon hard mated to the International Docking Adapter, and we'll continue our coverage until hard capture is complete and the docking operations have ceased. We're expected at that time to end our coverage, though the expectation is that the vestibule will be pressurized between the Cargo Dragon and the International Space Station to allow for the hatches to be opened later today at getting access to some of the cargo inside. They'll perform a lot of the Dragon cargo maneuvering or cargo moving operations tomorrow. Much of that will be tomorrow, but they're expected to get to a lot of the cargo inside today. We're now 6 minutes away from the expected departure time from waypoint 2. Dragon is still holding at 20 meters away from the International Space Station. Again, this is part of those RADICOMs that you've heard from Capcom. Mike Jensen called up to the crew. We're waiting to get past this period of RADI communications with the Cargo Dragon, which should stabilize, expected at 12:34 p.m. Central Time. And at that point, we're expected to depart waypoint 2 at 20 meters and resume approach. This is Mission Control Houston. Again, we're in holding period for Dragon, which has arrived to its waypoint 2 holding position 20 meters away from the International Space Station. We're just holding here for a little bit longer than expected to get past this period of radio communications. As you can see, some of those video feeds from station going in and out through this period, but it's expected to stabilize here in just inside of 3 minutes, 12:34 p.m. Central Time. We should see Dragon resume its approach to the International Space Station. This is Mission Control Houston. We're now approaching the period where we expected to have some stable communication. It may be another 2 minutes until we actually have full stabilization of the S-band communication, though it looks like we're getting some video now. So as we approach 12:34, we'll stand by for that official confirmation that Cargo Dragon has departed waypoint 2.
And ready, we see good attitude. The capture sequence, we see range 19.82 and good attitude has been holding steady.
Copy all, and we're coming out of the blockage. We'll be resuming hopefully momentarily.
This is Mission Control Houston. Again, we have not departed that 20-meter holding point, just waiting for the S-band link that provides low bandwidth data. We're waiting for that to stabilize. Should be a little less than a minute until we see the departure of Cargo Dragon.
Station Houston, Space to Ground 2. Dragon is resuming approach and is go for docking. Monitor per steps 5 and 6 in 1.102. Uncrewed Dragon approach and retreat monitoring.
Copy. Steps 5 and 6. Crew is also go for docking.
We just got confirmation Dragon has resumed approach.
We see range decreasing 19.41 and decreasing. Attitude is good, holding steady. We see abort type positive grade C. Vehicle mode command lights are as expected, and corridors as expected.
Houston copies all.
Good call-outs from Kate Rubens, who's alongside Victor Glover in the cupola module. She's monitoring the telemetry of Cargo Dragon as it makes its final approach for docking. Again, approach has resumed from 20 meters. We're now inside 17 meters. "15 meters from station and closing." Some of the International Space Station structure now coming into view as we pass 12 meters from station. Now inside 10 meters. Approach is looking good and aligned.
Station on space ground 2, range 8 meters, good attitude.
Copy, 8 meters, good attitude.
Dragon is now inside 5 meters. Three meters, grounds have called a hands-off point, standing by for contact and capture.
Station space ground 2, 2 meters, chop.
Copy, chop.
Crew hands-off point. One meter. And we have confirmed contact and capture, 12:40 p.m. Central Time.
Station Houston, Dragon contact and soft capture complete.
Soft capture complete.
Again, confirmed contact and soft capture. Dragon and the International Space Station were 268 statute miles over the southern Indian Ocean, 12:40 p.m. Central Time. Soft capture ring is now retracting.
Station Houston, ring retraction is in progress.
Copy.
Again, we have a confirmed contact and soft capture at 12:40 p.m. Central Time. The Dragon and station were both 268 statute miles over the southern Indian Ocean at the time of capture. We're now standing by as Dragon undergoes some of the final steps for a hard capture to the International Space Station. The first is the retraction of the soft capture ring. There's 12 hooks that'll drive to maintain a hard mate with the International Space Station. That'll be the next milestone. Coming up for Crew Dragon to officially dock to the International Space Station. As the docking sequence continues to go underway, we're now entering into an orbital sunrise. You can see sort of the glint of the sun shining from behind the cargo Dragon, now at its new home on the zenith or space-facing side of the station's Harmony module. That happening again over the southern Indian Ocean, the Terminator line just south of Australia. A great view of Cargo Dragon now in its new home. This is pointing straight up at the zenith or space-facing side. The Dragon is still undergoing some of the final steps of the docking sequence. Right now undergoing the retraction of the soft capture ring.
Station on ground 2, we see undock complete. Sensor 1, Sensor 2, stopwatch has started.
Gabe Rubens inside of the cupola module, continuing to monitor the docking sequence for Cargo Dragon. Again, that soft capture ring is nearing completion of its retraction. Next we'll be driving the 12 hooks that will hard mate the Cargo Dragon into place right in front of the International Docking Adapter 3.
Houston Station, repeat.
And Kate, ring retraction is complete. We are holding the docking sequence here to finish the MCS reconfiguration.
Copy, we've got our timer started.
Again, we have a confirmed contact and soft capture, 12:40 p.m. Central Time. The station and Dragon were 268 statute miles over the southern Indian Ocean. The soft capture ring has retracted. We're just waiting for to reconfigure some of the attitude control of the International Space Station itself, and then we'll resume with the hard capture, driving 12 hooks that will hard mate Cargo Dragon into place on its new home aboard the International Space Station on the space-facing side of the Harmony module.
Copy, hook driving, MCS config complete.
And we had confirmation that the International Space Station itself has been reconfigured. Its attitude control now in the right configuration to allow for a hard capture. That'll be 12 hooks driving to hard mate Dragon in place. The International Space Station on control moment gyro, attitude control throughout this next sequence of docking. That'll be, again, the 12 hooks that drive hard mating Dragon into place. This is Mission Control Houston. The Cargo Dragon has been given a go to resume its hard capture sequence. That'll be 12 hooks that drive to essentially hard mate or lock Cargo Dragon into place. That soft capture, contact and capture occurred at 12:40 p.m. Central Time. From this view, from one of the high-definition cameras of the station's truss, you can sort of make out the nose cone of the Crew Dragon. Two dueling Dragons attached to the International Space Station at the same time. Cargo Dragon you see at the top of your screen, and Crew Dragon over to the left is at the very forward end of the International Space Station. Right now, each of those vehicles now together passing 272 statute miles just south of Australia over the Terminator line into an orbital daytime over the South Pacific Ocean. Now again, 12 hooks need to be driven to hard mate the Cargo Dragon to the International Space Station. We received confirmation that 6 of those 12, or half of the hooks, have driven. Standing by for confirmation of the remaining 6 hooks. Losing some of the video from the International Space Station, but we're still receiving good telemetry from the Cargo Dragon. Those 6 remaining hooks still driving to enable a hard capture of the Cargo Dragon to the International Space Station today. We're nearing completion. And we have confirmation of hard capture complete.
Station Houston on 2. hard capture complete.
Houston Station on Space to Ground 2, copy, hard capture complete. And I'd just like to say a huge congratulations to all of the teams that worked on SpaceX 21. It's pretty amazing to think that less than a month ago you docked 4 crew members to the International Space Station, and now you are bringing a vehicle full of world-class science for us to execute. Thank you.
Copy all, and it is our pleasure.
This is Mission Control Houston. You heard those words from Kate Rubins aboard the International Space Station, welcoming 6,400 pounds, more than 6,400 pounds of cargo arriving to the International Space Station. You heard that hard capture sequence is complete. The Cargo Dragon is officially mated to the International Space Station. Hatches are expected to be opened later today for that first access to some of the incredible science that is on board. A recap of the mission that you have seen today. We did have a confirmed contact and capture. That time was 12:40 p.m. Central Time. At the time of docking, the Cargo Dragon and the International Space Station were flying 268 statute miles over the Indian Ocean. That completes the approach and docking sequence of Dragon, the Cargo Dragon, on its CRS-21 mission to the International Space Station. With that, we will wrap our coverage here in Mission Control Houston. Thank you for joining us for the duration of the flight of CRS-21, beginning yesterday, December 6th, launching from Pad 39A over at Cape Canaveral, or the Kennedy Space Center over in Florida, launching at 10:17 a.m. Central Time, and docking to the International Space Station a little more than 24 hours later, 26 hours later, at 12:40 p.m. Central Time. That will wrap up our coverage today. This is Mission Control Houston.